and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
See the moonlight on the horizon. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the town up on. Yeah, this is Shout out to Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and Bestie Davis. Take it away.
My followers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning, all depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. I think you guys are spoiled for choices. Do let me know if you can hear me clearly in the comment section. To the right of me, I'm keeping my eyes on a second screen just to make sure everything is functioning right. I think it looks okay so far, but if in case you're getting something different your end, do let me know. Massive thank you to the Edit Boss earlier on. Watching the Edit Boss's live stream. If you want to catch up on the latest information pertaining to the Reggae Boys and their club activities, how they're getting on with their respective clubs, then Nakada Media House is the place to be. He's got you covered throughout the week. Around about, let's say, your early morning, got a morning insider that is midday if you're in Europe, a bit like myself. And also during the course of the week, if there's matches being played, particularly where the Reggae Boys are concerned, you can tune in for his live match reaction. Definitely enjoyed that one. Where do we start? Where do we start? I can see a comment in the comment section. So let's try and see if we can pop that right up on screen there for you. Good day to yourself. You said you're looking forward to this. I am looking forward to it as well. Thank you for being in the comment section. If you've not hit the like button, do go ahead and hit the like button. It does not cost you a penny. In a short few, we will be diving right into the review of last night's game. Of course, the girls got it done, beating Nicaragua away from home 3-2. It's got a bit of a squeaky bomb time towards the end, so we will be talking about that. Definitely a squeaky bomb time finish, but nevertheless, football is about results, and in the end, the results is what matters. We got the all-important win. As I said, we're going to dive right into that match, and I do want to apologize. Yesterday, I had to close off on the show because, as you know, it was about maybe coming up to 3 in the morning my time, so obviously I couldn't give you a review then. All right. So I do apologize once more. So before we get into that, I do have to stick a pin in it. I think I'm gonna have to dive right into it, and maybe shall we go ahead and look at some Premier League results? I kind of feel like it's only right to talk about some Premier League football before we get into the meat of the matter. It would be rude not to talk about some Premier League football. Rude, I tell you, not to talk about some Premier League football. I hope you can see this on the screen in front of you. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me clearly, so if you can't, do let me know. I'm currently without my headphones. I'm without my headphones only because it's just very uncomfortable. So if you guys can't hear me clearly, because I can't hear myself through the desktop, do let me know and I'll put back on my headphones and get to work. All right. So do let me know if there's any audio issues there. So we're talking about some Premier League football. We have to stick a pin in it and talk about the worst defending Premier League champions of all time. It is written in black and white. Let's go ahead and see what this one says here. It does say over on X. You can go ahead and tune into this one, read this one in your own time if you must, but you should be able to read it on the screen in front of you. I'm going to try and give it a read myself. You can probably, as I said, read this one in your own time. If you feel like it's a little bit of an AI, trust and believe there's nothing AI about this one. It says Liverpool have lost 5 games thanks to 90th minute goals in the Premier League this season, the most of any side in the campaign, in a single campaign in the competition's history. Would you like me to read that one again for you? I'm going to read this one again just in case I have some viewers and subscribers in Toronto or maybe Rima. I don't know. Let's read that one again. Liverpool have lost 5 games thanks to 90th minute goals in the Premier League this season. Let's remind ourselves they are the defending champions, the most of any side in a single campaign in the competition competitions history. Well, there is history and there is bad history. I'm not really sure if that's a good history there. If I had a friend in Toronto or one from Rima, I could give him a call, but I have no friend as such. So we're going to continue looking at Liverpool, the history makers. Round of applause for the biggest, the worst Premier League defending champions of all time, written in black and white. Make sure you clap, clap for them, guys. It says there, this is the first time in 9 years that a bottom place Premier League side beat the reigning champions. That was a thumping victory. Thumping victory. Basically, if you missed that one, what happened was Wolves grabbed them by their collar and just fist them up. Oh, beautiful uppercuts. Lovely to see. Long may it continue. Now, what I don't understand when it comes to certain team, not certain people, I should say, how is it that some people are saying that their team are bedroom bullies? I don't really understand. The majority of the season, written in black and white, they have been hiding under their bed. For the majority of this season's campaign, they have been hiding under their bed. They're not no bedroom boss, in my opinion. They are bed bugs. They're making me itch. They're making my skin itch. And I do remember that when Arsenal dropped points against Wolves, there is a lot of chatter coming from Mr. Jackson. There is a lot of chatter. I do recall him saying that the Gunners will drop points against Spurs and also Chelsea. I don't know where he is. He's avoiding my phone calls. But if you feel like you're bad, go live. Go live tonight for me. If you feel like you're bad, go live tonight. I do trust that royalty will be going live later on because it doesn't run rain or shine. If his team lose or draw, he shows his face like a proper Liverpool fan. Authentic Liverpool fan. He doesn't hide like some people. I'm going to read that one again just before I move on to the meat of the matter. The first time in 9 years, that's almost a decade, that a bottom place Premier League side beat the reigning champions. Massive, massive win for Wolves. Long may it continue. And let me read this one again for those of you at the back just tuning in. Liverpool have lost 5 games to a 90th minute goal in the Premier League this season, the most of any side in a single campaign in the competition's history. That, my friend, is what you call sweet chin music. Long may it continue. And if them feel like them bad, please go live tonight. I will be there front and center stage. I am tired. I haven't slept properly. But if you feel like you're bad, please go live. I will be there tonight listening keenly. I might even call him depending on how I'm feeling. I have no mercy for you, but I might take the foot off the gas. I don't know. Real baller, big ups to you. Big ups to you. I hope you are in great health. Conroy Sterling, big ups to you. I hope you are in wonderful health. Dunk78, good day to yourself. I hope you are in great health. He says, good evening. You should find Ryan. I don't know. Is there proof of life? Is there proof of life? I can't tell when last I spoke to Mr. Jackson. I even forgot what his voice sounds like. I don't know where he is. If anyone sees him, do go ahead and let him know that his dear sister is looking for him. I don't know. I think he is hiding. Big ups to yourself, Bam Sports TV. The man has you covered. One of the most trusted sources when it comes to underground reporting, that is reporting on football live and direct from Jamaica. Make sure you follow BAM Sports TV across social media. Also, make sure you follow Ball Pre TV as well. Like and subscribe to Ball Pre TV and Nikado Media House. And of course, Mr. Jackson needs no plug-in. Nipple Buckler FC. the boss of all boss, if you want to call them that, go ahead and subscribe to his channel as well. Night Rider, good to see you in the comment section. He says, I'm hearing clearly. Big ups to you. I hope you're in great health. Fine, Ryan LFC. I don't know where he is. I might ask the old Bill to go ahead and knock on his door. Bam says, sounds perfect. Lovely, lovely stuff. Did speak. I don't know what Speed said. I don't know if that's a hidden joke somewhere. I think Bam is enjoying that one. Biggest and worst defending Premier League champions of all time. I dare someone to prove me otherwise. I dare someone to tell me otherwise. But enough of the chit chat. I don't know if you guys want to take a look at the Premier League table before I segue and talk about the Reggae Girls. I guess we could go ahead and do that. Could go ahead and look at the Premier League table before I close off. Enough of the chit chat when it comes to certain people's team. This is what we call no mercy. I did say at this point of the season, these little clubs like to pipe up. They really do. It's almost like they hit puberty at this point of the season, and everyone, all of a sudden, everyone's walking around like they got the biggest bollocks. All of a sudden, everyone is a man. Where were you at the start of the season? But it's the reason why I don't like playing against relegation battlers, because they don't make life easy for you. This is how the table is looking at the moment. You can see they're situated in 5th place. That is the defending Premier League champions. Yes, the defending Premier League champions. Liverpool, according to Mr. Jackson, they are the biggest club in England. And they are sitting on 48 points. And the other, I would say, arguably bigger club in England, Manchester United, they've had one of the worst season ever. They have leapfrog the biggest club in England, and they are in 3rd place. They've got their eyes on the prize. Meanwhile, the other biggest club are hoping that they don't miss out on Champions League football. That is how the table is looking, guys. If we have a quick little glance for the rest of today's results, it says yesterday because I think I am heading closer towards midnight. So do ignore what's on screen. And I also think I have a VPN on. All right. So do apologize for the confusion. So it does say here a victory for Everton beating Burnley 2-0. Stalemate in the clash between Bournemouth and Brentford, and the other game, Sunderland coming up clutch, beating Leeds United 1 goals to the good. And the biggest story of the night, Nickelbuckle FC losing 2-1. They thought their Egyptian king was going to save them, but no saving on tonight's occasion. No mercy. Drape up and thump up. Long may it continue. Let's go ahead and talk about someone. Let's talk about a team that is worthy of my time, because the so-called biggest club in England most certainly not worthy of my time. We have to go ahead and talk about the Reggae Girls. I think the best way to do this, I haven't listened to the post-match conference yet. So I guess we can go ahead and listen to what Bosby had to say in his post-match conference, and then we could go ahead and listen to my thoughts. I also want to hear who you guys think is your player of the match. I've selected 4 players that stood out for me. Now, football is a game of opinions. What I do need to do is also go back and watch the game again. I think that's the way that I learn best. Sometimes when I'm watching a match live and direct, I can't always pick up on every little detail. So it's always a good idea for me to go back and watch the game. And I trust the managers and coaches, they probably do something of similar ilk, going back and rewatching the games. So let me know who is your player of the match from last night's 3-2 win over Nicaragua. So I'll pick 4 players again that stood out to me, and you can see them on the thumbnail. Funny enough, 2 players that had 45 apiece in terms of minutes played. So that was Tiffany, Sade, and also the skipper, the captain, Bunny Shaw and Blackwood. So that's my 4 players in mind for player of the match, and I'm going to get into why that is. Before I do that, let's go ahead, bring up my shared screen once more, and we can listen to what the gaffer has to say. If I could just go ahead and make that a little bit larger. I think I need to mute myself in a short while. So let's go ahead. If you can't hear him, do let me know in the comment section. All right. So let's see what head coach Hubert Bosby has to say.
To win today. talk to me about the overall performance of the team.
What is Nicaragua? First of all, the number one objective coming to Nicaragua, we knew it was going to be a very difficult match. As I said, we needed to look very unique. We knew there were a good team, and the number one objective was for us to come here and gain team points. So overall, we had some moments in the game where we had to suffer a little bit. But credit to the players that did well to come back from some adversity and work it out again.
This victory mean for making the team, and pretty much was taking the next step. How you can prepare for the next match. And on the second hand, how do you feel about Nicaragua in the second half? They were pushing harder than the first half.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the game, was going to be difficult coming in. One of our players playing here without use of artificial surface, so it took some time to get used to. I think this week was not bad, but it's not the same until match, like it is a match play. So for us, again, the main thing was to come in, review that we need to get these 3 points to go on top of the group, which we did. And I think it was really important that was our number one objectives to come here, get our 3 points. Obviously take that into the next two matches and make sure that we can progress over the next one. As far as Nicaragua is concerned, I think they're a well-coached team, they're a good squad, and we're very importantly, we knew that was going to be a difficult match. For us to come back after being down, take a look at the video, whether it was a penalty or not. But at the end of the day, for us to be able to come back, we knew that we were going towards the end. There's no way that Nicaragua on their home soil is not going to make a push towards the end. I think we could have defended the last phase a lot better than what we wanted. I think just the looks on their faces after the game shows the standing that we have. Because the players are disappointed with some of their performances. And that's not a bad thing. It means that the level that we're playing at, the level that we want to achieve is very high. So we know this area is going to need to improve on as well. But overall, I think Nicaragua is a good squad, and I think they'll continue to progress in the right direction.
So, Coach, you're already looking towards the next 2 windows. What do you take, whether, in terms of the positive, as well as things that's needed ahead of those 2 matches?
Well, I think the first objective is going to is to win, and the second was to make sure that everyone left here healthy. And I think that was a big was a source of concern coming in with the turf, but obviously for all the players coming in, the extensive travel they had to deal with different time zones, different surfaces. So for us to come out there relatively unscathed and send each player back with healthy for what will be a pretty short turnaround for the next window was a major objective for us. But I think there's some things that we teach us a lot in terms of our advanced transition, which won't necessarily happen with us. Maybe some of the things we did before. I think at times we play a little bit slower than we would like. And again, football is about putting the ball on the ball, and goals change games. I think that I love to see the stats on this. Allows us to look the number of shots we had on goal. And obviously, the opportunities that we missed. But I think we put the good roots in those chances. I think that the game changes completely early on because I think we had some chances to put the game away both in the first half and the second half.
Yeah. And finally, from me, you spoke about the number of chances that the team got, not able to score more than 3. How do you look to fix that ahead of the matches to come?
I think it's like everything else. We'll sit down with the film and understand the top pros. They understand that there's going to be opportunities along the way and reflect themselves and all the opportunities that they can find things differently. Like everything else, a little bit of composure in front of the goal. But overall, I think the positive side, we weren't creating chances. And if we were creating chances, that would be a difference from concern. But we created a lot of chances to make this game a lot easier than it is at the end. But that's learning for us. I think we'll take those positives, we'll take those learnings, and move it forward towards the next 2 games, the next window.
work on the psychological part of the players. So maybe we're already behind one goal and then see the pressure and everything. What to actually say to them at the halftime that motivate them to come up?
Well, I think first and foremost, we got a lot of veterans and big down there and understand we've seen these pictures before. I think, at halftime we talk about making sure that we continue to do the things that we want to do. It's unfortunate to find ourselves in that position, but we didn't agree in terms of our plan and that plan, our principles and things that we wanted to do. I think we also made one or two changes based on what we saw. And those changes came on and but really the subs impact the game right off the bat. We see that result in us taking the lead. So really pleased with the attitude of those players who are ready to come on. But overall, these players have been in these situations before. I think it was really about making sure that we stay focused on our task, making sure that we stick to the principles that we wanted to do. And at the end, we ended up getting it in the end, which is the most important.
Had myself on mute. I don't know about you guys there, but that audio didn't sound the best. It sounded okay at different periods. I'm not sure if they did any mic check, but the audio didn't sound that great. So obviously I have no control over that because it's not my original audio. So I can only apologize to you guys, but it didn't sound that great. I probably should have listened to that one before playing it back to you guys. So only thing I could really do is apologize. All right. So I do apologize. If you haven't hit that like button, do go ahead and hit the like button, please. And thank you. So listening to what the gaffer said, I was trying to make some notes, but as I said, the audio wasn't coming clearly. I couldn't clearly hear the audio. I think he said some of the positives there was again, I think paraphrasing, I'm hoping I heard him right. Obviously, trying to get the result is one thing. Also, making sure that the players return to their clubs or their teams healthy in good condition. I'm assuming that's what he said. And I think he also said something along the lines of goals change games. So if you guys heard anything there that piqued your interest, do let me know. But as I said, that was a little bit of a tough listen because the audio was not great. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and dive right into my from the game. So again, feel free to go ahead and let me know who your player of the match is. I do actually have quite a few tabs open, all relevant to tonight's conversation. But with regards to the other topics that I don't really need, let me go ahead and close those down quickly for you guys before we jump into the meat of the matter. So firstly, let's go ahead and look at that's the best place to start. I think we should go ahead and look at the starting 11, right? Let's give ourselves a little brief reminder of the starting 11. I saw some of you in the comment section there speaking about the starting 11, so already can vaguely remember a couple of your opinions on how we lined up. So let me go back and look over at the main screen. So I think you guys should be able to see this one. If you can't see it, do let me know. Not really. I don't really think there's anything else that I can do to make any improvements. But if I can, obviously, I will go ahead and do so. So before this kind of slips my mind, couple of the initial questions that really went through my mind after closing off on last night's live stream is, are we do we need that many attackers on the field at the same time? That's a question to you guys. Let me know because I still haven't really given myself the answer. I guess, like I said, I will at some point need to go back and rewatch the game. But again, my initial thought after closing off on the live stream was just, do we need that many attackers on the pitch at the same time? Are we top heavy and therefore imbalance in our overall play? Are we a little bit trigger happy? Obviously, when it comes to strikers, forwards, we have them in an abundance of number and it's not something to complain about. I'm just kind of wondering, we've seen this before, matter of fact, where we kind of overfill the starting 11, or even when we go for substitutes, we kind of we're top heavy. I think that's something that's always been our thing, always top heavy. So again, are we a little bit trigger happy with regards to our shooters wanting to shoot from all direction, and therefore, in my opinion, because of that, are we also unintentionally avoiding key areas that requires whatever you want to call that, immediate or urgent urgent attention, or attention somewhere down the line? I'll leave you guys to decide that. But definitely, again, glossing over quickly before going to a deep dive, the performance of the captain. I think it's safe to say that it does pretty much illustrate the class of the captain. Safe to say that was not her best performance. Definitely not her best performance. But because she is, for me, the best forward in the world right now, she still managed to bag a brace even on a bad day at the office. I saw someone in the comment section, I think it was Marcus, that said that he thinks that this was Bunny's worst game. This was the worst we've played with the captain in a long while, and even I didn't pick up on that. And I think that's a strong argument there. But again, bouncing back to the attackers, despite of what I said, or in spite of what I said, the attackers actually did their job. When I'm talking about attackers, I'm obviously referring to natural attackers, so the likes of your Tiffany Cameron, also Shania Hills, and obviously Bunny, all involved with making sure we get the all important results. And I guess one of the positives that I could take away from that game, aside from the results, was the reaction from the players. Visibly, they looked pissed, they looked quite annoyed, and rightly so. I think their facial expression pretty much summed up the story from a few of the players. I think Konya looked pissed towards the end of the match, at the end of the final whistle. I think Sydney also looked annoyed, and just in general, you didn't really see anyone smiling towards the end of the final whistle, and rightly so. Why should you, with regards to how the game ended? And I guess the big question that I really want to ask myself, I don't have the answer. Only I'm assuming only time will tell. For me, it's, will we ever play the football that our heart desires? I think that, for me, is the biggest question right now. And I kind of feel like it's been that way for potentially, it's been that way for a long time. I don't think this is something that is unique or isolated to Bosby. Feel like it's been that way for some time. I'm not really seeing the football that really and truly I want to see. So with regards to the lineup, I think we went with a back three, which you could obviously see on your screen. I think I told you guys this in my live stream, that was pretty much the big surprise for me. Taken into context, I think that was the big surprise for me. I think if Allison hadn't recently come back from injury with Palace, I think she might have been slotted right into the starting 11. I'm assuming that was just the head coach trying to manage her. Again, in the post-match press conference, he did touch on, wanting to make sure that the players return to their respective clubs in good health. So I am assuming that because she's recently made her return back from being on the sidelines, that's probably one of the reasons why we didn't see her in the starting 11, because she came on, I don't even know if she played 10 minutes. She came on quite very late towards the ending of the match. I think maybe around the 80 something minutes, maybe 87 plus minutes, was when the vice captain came into the match. So I was actually expecting him to do something completely different. I thought he was going to go for Allison, Cordoza, Konya, and Harris. But again, he went up different, not quite different. Harris obviously started, as did Plummer, and also Chantal Swaby. There you can see the back three. Midfield, you can kind of see the midfield there on the screen in front of you. I think the only surprise there in terms of the players starting, for me, it was a pleasant surprise, the return of Jade Bailey. Similar to Alison Swaby, actually, I didn't expect her to start. Nothing to do with talent, just because, more so, I think it's because of the playing surface. And again, wanting to make sure that players don't pick up any injuries. Obviously, we know the injury record where Jade is concerned. So that was kind of like my initial thought, was that she wasn't going to start the game, and perhaps we were going to play it safe with regards to trying to make sure that she stays healthy. But she put in a decent shift. So definitely glad to see Jade Bailey back in the team. You can kind of see how we're looking there. I think she's probably not accurate, because uh, Blackwood should have been out left, and Atlanta should be more central. And I believe Tiffany Cameron, that is, was right, and Jade was also more central. So I don't think it's an accurate graphic. Nevertheless, I don't know about you guys there, but when it comes to playing players out of position, I think I've said it a number of times that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of playing players out of position. I think we're at a stage now with regards to the Reggae Girls where we have to expect that maybe a couple of the older and experienced players will need to occupy different position. And again, I don't like seeing players playing out of position where it's just in the extreme unless there is some adequate cover there. So for me, I think I said this on a live stream several weeks back that in going forward, I'm expecting the likes of your Tiffany Cameron and your Kayla McKenna to maybe go and slot inside the number 10 role, just because we're so stack where attackers and forwards are concerned. That's not to say they can't deliver, but I think the gaffer is probably going for something different up top, which clearly we've seen on quite a number of occasions. But I think if you're going to be playing a player like Tiffany Cameron in, let's just say, going forward as a right back, whether that is a permanent decision or maybe it's a chop and change, I think you definitely have to provide adequate coverage where your midfield is concerned. I think for you to maximize that potential for when she is sprinting forward, you need to address the midfield issues. So where is that cover going to come from? Is it going to come from our six again when she's sprinting forward? Who is that going to be? Is it going to come in the case of a Drew Spence, or are we going to look to a player that could? I think the uniqueness of Drew Spence and Izzy is that they can naturally give us the 6 and 8 rolled into one. So again, when you're talking about the gaps that comes when a player is sprinting forward, like when you're putting your forward as a right back, I think definitely to create a layer of safety and to make sure that any weakness there isn't exploited, you kind of need some support from defense, from midfield, in my opinion. We're going to talk a little bit about the midfield before I close off. So with regards to the front three, we already saw the front three. You got the skipper, the captain left, you have Shania down the middle, and you've got Natasha on the right. And in a nutshell, the front three still getting to know each other. Unfortunately, we didn't have the luxury of seeing the players all available over a number of girl matches. I say unfortunately, as loud as possible. We didn't have those players there all available during the preparation stage, so during the time where we were playing friendlies in preparation for the qualifiers. And I think because of that, we weren't able to iron out some teething issues. We definitely have some teething issues, and I think unfortunately, look, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, whether there's been some internal issues, but I kind of feel like I have to, as an outsider watching, you got to split that blame down the middle. I'm saying players players have to take accountability for their unavailability, and also the coach as well. Obviously, when players are unavailable, for me, there are reasons why players definitely can be unavailable, fitness being an issue, their mental health, personal reasons with regards to family and so on, and just wanted to take care of yourself, but simply not being available when we're trying to fine tune ourselves for reasons that, in my opinion, isn't really acceptable. Like, we've seen some questionable reasons. We've seen times where players have been unavailable during key preparation matches in friendlies, and we're hearing that, players are injured, but we're not being told what the injury is. And then again, when a certain player returns to their club, they're bang doing at 90 minutes and so on. And it kind of makes you wonder what was the injury, because there's no clear communication coming from the Jamaica Football Federation to tell us what those injuries are and how long the players are expected to be on the sideline and so on. Right. So I kind of feel like that's now we're in a position where we're still unfortunately playing catch up on ourselves. definitely playing catch up on ourselves because, like I said, we weren't able to iron out some teething issues that needed to be addressed when we had the chance to do so. I think we've played a record number of friendlies, so no one can't sit and say that we didn't get the friendlies. Who do you credit for giving us the friendlies? I am assuming it's the Jamaica Football Federation, but you don't really know who to credit these days because everything just feel like very top secrets and basic information isn't presented to us. So if I give you the credit and the credit don't belong to you, there's not really much that I can do about that. I'm just assuming that that's the JFF that's put the friendlies in the pipeline, because we did hear Michael Ricketts come out towards I think it was the latter stages of last why does it feel like it's not last year? The year before, it feels like some point last year he came out and said that he's going to be helping, paraphrasing, getting the girls friendlies for their preparation or for the qualifiers. And I think it's safe to say we did just that. So preparation in terms of friendlies, I don't think was an issue. Bring this one up on screen for you very briefly, because basically this is a team huddle just before kickoff, and there was a little bit of a confusion where we're all concerned because obviously we saw Bailey Gale's name on the subs bench, and we're wondering who. Well, for me, I said Jade Bailey. Sorry, Paige Bailey Gale. But we're also wondering, is that a mistake, that they made a mistake? And also, the only other player that I couldn't identify was Soleil Washington. So you can kind of see Paige Bailey on the left, on my left is probably your right. She's standing in the huddle next to what looks like Allison. So you can see proof of life. She was in the team huddle. And I guess my biggest gripe from this one is that where's the clear line of communication? I'm not the only one that felt out the dark, out the loop, in the dark, I should say. A couple people in the comment section who follow the team religiously is asking, is Paige in camp? Also, where is Washington? So I don't really understand why in 2026 we're having to ask for clear lines of communication when you're trying to sell women's football. Women's football is much harder to sell compared to the men's game. Obviously, I mean, it's not going to take people 5 minutes to just put some basic information out there and let people know like who's available and who isn't available. And as I said, you probably did it, but you probably didn't do it well enough, because the people that follow the team religiously were still in the comment section asking what's going on, who is available, who is in camp, and so on. So again, when players are unavailable, we're not asking to intrude on people's personal life, but give us some reasons pertaining to their unavailability, whether that's an injury or not they've picked up when they came into camp, whether it's a case of they had to be excused due to personal reasons. It doesn't kill to just communicate with your fans. But nevertheless, that being said, welcome back to Paige Bailey. Gail, I hope that this is the start of something special for you. She is a lovely player, so best of luck to her. Let me stick a pin in it. Good night to yourself, DC. Night Rider is saying, DC, I hope you're in great health, by the way. Likewise, same goes to you, Night Rider. Jamaica Red Devil says, greetings, everyone. I got this funny feeling, all in, not well in camp. Can't do this again. So Jamaican Red Devil is saying he's got a funny feeling that all isn't well in camp. Well, I don't know. You're probably bang on the money with that one, but really and truly, I don't have a bloody clue if all is well in camp or not. Hopefully, it is well. Now, if we go ahead and look at the rest of the snapshots there, I got a couple snapshots there for you guys, right? Let me go ahead and switch over to my second. It's probably my third snapshot. I got loads of snapshot to share with you guys right here, all relevant to tonight's conversation, trust and believe. All right, so let me go ahead and move this one a little bit further down so I cannot confuse myself. So you can see here that on screen, 17 minutes on. So it's just after a quarter of an hour played. Hopefully you guys can see on your screen. If you can't, do tap me on my shoulder and I'll try to make sure I make the necessary adjustments for you guys. All right, you can see here just over a quarter of an hour played on the screen in front of you. And I think it's safe to say, it says here, what does that say? It says 4 shots for Jamaica, 0 for Nicaragua. I think it's safe to say, upon reflection, and we're talking about, let's say, the first opening 10 minutes of that game, there's a little bit of a fair back and forth where both sides are concerned, with obviously Jamaica being slightly ahead in terms of the chances created, right? And I think up until maybe the 16th minute mark, you can kind of see Nicaragua there sniffing out some chances, being defensively aware and pretty much trying to make sure that they keep I think probably one of their game plan was to keep the score line down. I'm sure they would have seen or heard what we did to Dominica, and they weren't going to have any of that. Now, I believe it might have been less than 10 minutes, so past the 17 minutes, which is on your clock, which is on the screen right there in front of you. Unfortunately, they tucked away a penalty by their captain, Flores. Number 11. She's also, so that what's so funny is their captain is the number 11, and our captain, which you can funny enough see on the screen at the top there, Bunny Shaw. So both the captains there done in the number 11 jersey, which I thought was a little bit funny, but their captain tucked away a well taken penalty from the penalty spot to make it 1-0 on the night's occasion. So that was, as I said, a well taken penalty. And what that kind of signaled to me, based on what we could see in the opening 10 minutes, as well as that one chance, the first chance that really came to them, was that it really sent a signal to myself that, this team has no fear. This team has no fear, and they really, really came to play football. And yeah, they weren't going to sit down and allow us to steamroll them. And they made it a little bit difficult for us, definitely towards the end. It felt a little bit cagey, but we're going to talk about the second half of the second 45 before I close off naturally. All right, so we can go ahead and potentially look at my next, I should say, my next snapshot of the game. So this one that you're currently looking at, let me go over that again. 4 shots, and 4 shots for Jamaica, 0 for Nicaragua. That was before, not long after 10 minutes in, they went and put us on the back burner. And what was funny about that is I actually thought that, as I said on last night's night stream, that 30 minutes in, by the 30-minute mark, I predicted us to open the scoreline. I didn't think it would be the host. Sometimes you get the predictions wrong. And I don't think I'm wearing another match day jersey. I don't think I'm wearing normal jerseys, because in my mind, I'm pretty sure I've had a number of live streams where I'm not wearing my jersey and we play poorly. But in my mind, I feel like we play worse when I'm wearing my jerseys. So I think I'm gonna cut out the match day jersey. All right. I had on my match day jersey yesterday, and yeah, don't think I'm going to be doing that again. So going back to Jamaica now, when it comes to, again, the 10th minute, the opening 10 minutes, I think what we saw from Bunny Shaw was that she wasn't standing still. She was pretty much all over the front line. You could see periods there where she would drop deep into midfield, come into midfield. She was also interchanging between left, where she originally started, and then crossing over to right. And I think that probably, I'm not sure if that was coach's instruction, or Bonnie just thinking on her feet. I think that made it somewhat, arguably, unpredictable. She made herself somewhat unpredictable for the opponent, because they're kind of confused as to where she playing. Is she going to stick to the left? Is she coming into the middle? Is she going to go out right? And funny enough, I think when she shifted right, I think just 10 minutes on, I think that's when we saw her put that ball through the legs of the keeper. Nice little salad on the side. I still don't understand why the referee blew the whistle. I'm trying to picture it in my head, and I'm thinking, why is there a foul? But Bunny naturally has a bigger build than her opponents. I saw her score. I think she scored against Chelsea some weeks back, and I think it was USA's Naomi. And the way that Bunny kind of just brushed her off, it was just so hilarious, the size difference. So I think she's naturally going to be stronger than most opponents, unless you're dealing with a brick wall like a Millie Bright. But feel like 9 times out of 10, physically, you're not getting the better of her. So I don't really understand why that was a foul. To me, it wasn't a foul, but maybe I'm being a little bit biased. Now, as we approach the first quarter of an hour of the game, you could also see a little bit of a couple of misplaced passes running into traffic. Again, all credits to the host. But I must say that during which we also started to drum up chances of our own, particularly where the left-hand side is concerned, through Blackwood. He had a couple good balls into the box, couple good aerial balls into the box. I'm assuming, in case I haven't said this already, that was coach's instructions. Try to put a couple good balls into the box there. Some excellent effort. I think her first effort, which I think landed on the head top of Bunny Shaw, and then it was headed over the crossbar. That was a wonderful, wonderful cross into the box. And I think potentially maybe 1 minute later, she attempted to do something similar. Again, ball into the box, but it didn't pay dividends on those two particular occasions. And it's no surprise that those two players there linked up well where the left hand side is concerned, Blackwood and Bunny, because obviously this would have been the third successive World Cup cycle where they've played with each other. So she does know her captain does know her. And I could say, without saying arguably, in terms of the front three, that's the player there that she's probably more likely to find out, just because she knows her movement, she can anticipate her runs. Probably same can't be said with the likes of Natasha or Shania just yet, though, because again, there is some clear teething issues there. Now, in terms of what happened with regards to the attempted cross there into the box from Blackwood, I think potentially on a different night's occasion, maybe I'm not blaming playing surface, but just for conversation's sake, different night's occasion, playing surface wasn't an issue, but maybe against a different opponent, she probably potentially would have had maybe 2 assists in her back pocket. I think roundabout maybe in the first 18 to 20 minutes of game time, right? So let's go ahead and move on to our next snapshot. And this is actually one of my favorite moments of the game. I need to go back and watch this one on replay, because I think this came about maybe 10 minutes after unfortunately conceding the penalty there. Atlanta Primus. It's Atlanta is on the ball there. You can see that in front of you on the screen. And what I actually like about this particular movement here was 2 minutes. I think it was maybe 2 minutes after. I said 10 minutes, my apologies. 4 minutes after giving away the penalty, she immediately tried to orchestrate the equalizer, and she played a beautiful chip cross to Bunny, which unfortunately think it went wide right of the post, but it was a lovely chip cross and managed to play its way right through the middle where you can see that little gap there. So I thought that was a good effort, good vision from Atlanta. And by that moment, and if my memory serves me well, I think it's safe to say the captain should have had at least minimum 4 goals. She should easily have been on a hat trick. But what that tells us is that the bunny is actually a human being, and not the sharpest of day at the office, but despite that, she still managed to come up clutch. And that's what you do when you're the world best. You can kind of find the back of the net at some point, right? So let's move on to round about the 36th minute. If you guys have dropped any comments in the comment section, I do apologize. I will turn my attention to you before I close off, right? Let's just move on. I'm trying to get this done inside 1 hour if I can, or just over 1 hour. Now, another key moment. Can you guys spot the ball? Can you guys, I confused the hell out of me when I took this snapshot. I was like, where's the ball? I'm like, where's the ball? I know it's there somewhere. So you can see this is the 36th minute, which led up to the equalizer. You can see again, we're working on those aerial passes there. Tiffany Cameron whips it into the box, and you can see Bunny Shaw in the middle. Before that, though, I think what happened, if memory serves me well, was that Cameron tried to link up with Natasha, didn't pay dividends, so she went back and reworked that one, and she then passed a ball into the back of into the box. I tried to give it from a different angle because this was definitely excellent classy assist. You should be able to see this one on your screen in front of you. Bunny, where's Bunny? Bunny, I think, is right there in the middle, and you can see just how delightful that assist is. It made its way past between those two players there, from Tiffany Cameron, and landed right on the head top of Bunny Shaw, headed into the back of the net by the captain, the number 11. So in number 11s went gunshot for gunshot last night, people. Love it, because we're the ones that came out triumphant. So again, attacking players linking up. First, again, you had Cameron to Natasha to Cameron with the ball into the box there for Bunny. I'm putting this down to striker's instinct. Like, as a striker, obviously she's a natural forward. Bunny is a forward. I think as a forward, you kind of know the delivery that works best, and I'm assuming that's kind of the vision that she went with, executed beautifully well, finished off superbly well by the captain, the skipper, Bunny Shaw. Like, a forward knows when it's time to forward into the dance, and that's exactly what she did. You can definitely watch this one back on replay in your own time. I probably will at some point. So that's how we look when it comes to the pulling the trigger for the equalizer. Now, in terms of rounding up the first 45, if I'm being honest, it wasn't a poor performance from either side. But again, it does appear that there's some clear and obvious teething issues where the Reggae Girls are concerned. In my opinion, that is, there was definitely periods there where you can clearly see that they don't know each other. The team just don't know each other. They're still trying to figure out people's movements, anticipating runs, and so on. We did, however, see some glimpses of some pass and moves, one touch football at certain periods during the first 45. But this is why I'm saying it's a real shame that at this stage of the qualifiers, we still don't have a team that's just like a well-oiled machine. I think had we utilized or maximized the friendlies that was given to us by the Jamaica Football Federation, we'd have easily been in a better position to solidify a strong starting 11. Because I don't think, with the greatest of respect to the starting 11, I don't think that was the strongest starting 11. We're still at this moment in time trying to figure out the best starting 11 and trying to just work together as a team, which is very frustrating. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a fan of a back three. Don't know, I'm not the gaffer. I'm not a fan of the back three. I'm a bit old school. I like my back four. So I think I would love to see a back four. And more importantly, Busby need to just grow a pair and just nail down your team now. Nail down your team, because yes, it's great to chop and change, it's great to be unpredictable, but the issue with being unpredictable and chop and change is I don't think you can build immediate synergy is something that takes time to build. I'm saying immediate because we now need to get the ball moving. I don't think it's possible to build invaluable synergy, when you're always chopping and changing, when teammates are trying to figure each other out. Clearly, in my opinion, that's what we saw in last night's game. And I think, with regards to the aerial duels that I touched on, I think that was a coach's instruction, and obviously that was just us trying to play on our strengths, which was, the natural advantage in terms of the height difference between the two nations. So when it comes to the equalizer, I think moments after the equalizer, funny enough, we had Nicaragua the other end, and as cheeky as they are, they were trying to pull themselves back out in front, but they weren't able to regain the lead. And again, that just doubled down on them just being completely fearless and wanting to take the game to us. I think it's safe to say that we all want to play expressive football, expansive football. But in my opinion, we need to get the balance right. That's just my opinion. We need to get the balance right. The game, to be fair, first 45, definitely second 45, it did feel competitive. The game definitely felt competitive, but I also think, again, I don't know how many times I've said this, we're clearly still trying to figure each other out, which I'm not a fan of. Definitely not a fan. So when we move on, see if I can close down these tabs so I don't confuse myself. We move on to the second 45. Second 45, we saw some changes at halftime. Initially, it kind of confused us. And listening back, I heard the commentator said, right? The commentator said that they were confused as well. I think what happened was there was some changes at halftime, but it wasn't caught on camera. So that's the reason why if you're watching Concacaf, you didn't see it because Concacaf themselves, the commentator said that they didn't catch that one on camera. But to wrap that one up in terms of the halftime substitutions, Tiffany Cameron coming on for Cameron Simmons, Sade coming on for Jade Bailey, and this was one of my moments of the game. This is Sade gearing up to pull the trigger, and she's doing so from some distance. And for me, you can see the clock there, 54 plus minutes in, and she's immediately getting stuck in. Good shot here, saved by the goalkeeper again from some distance. I think if that one there had a little bit more power and sting in it, it probably would have troubled the keeper. But in terms of the positivity of that shot there is that for me, that's a player that is beaming with confidence. She doesn't need her teammates she doesn't need her teammates' permission to take a shot from distance. And that's what you like to see. I think maybe some 10 or 15 minutes later, we saw another shot by Sade from similar distance. Again, long range effort out. And I think both shots just kind of lack power. I think maybe if they had some power, it might have troubled the goalkeeper. But it's still great to see what Sade came on and did on the night's occasion. She had a couple moments there that definitely made me smile. Another moment here, I think she put on she rolled it on the carpet for Bunny Shaw. I'm hoping you guys can see this one. She rolled it on the carpet for Bunny Shaw, right, for her captain. And that's what happens when you know your teammates. You can anticipate runs and so on. So she rolled it on the carpet there for her, guys. And with this particular pass, hopefully you guys can see it, right? Bunny, you can see there, Bunny is she's on her bike. So she's running forward. Good pass there from Sade. I should say a delightful pass there from Sade. My only gripe with this is, as you can see in the snapshot there, you can kind of see our attackers in shots, but as Bunny is on her bikes and she's pretty much charging forward, the next thing I'm saying to myself is, let's go ahead and change this one for you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. The next thing I'm saying to myself is, where's the rest of our attackers? Again, they're behind the captain. Now, if you're talking about 1v1, obviously you're going to be backing Bunny Shaw, but that moment in the game, you got what, 76 minutes on the clock. She's probably feeling a little bit leggy. If we're being honest, she's probably feeling a little bit leggy. So backtrack there, you had a delightful pass there, rolling it on the carpet to Bunny Shaw, and Bunny pretty much being off on her skates. And there was another snapshot there that I'm going to bring up for you guys where she's pretty much, you can kind of, I'm looking at this one again, I'm kind of losing my marbles because I'm just like, there's no one there to support her. Yes, she is the world's best, but sometimes even the world's best need a little bit of assistance. You can probably put that down to maybe players I think feeling a little bit leggy. Now, before I move on to the next snapshot, Sade, definitely have to take my hats off to her. I think she's a player, I've said it a number of times, that definitely falls under the radar. I don't think she gets the love and the attention that she deserves. And like I said, she came into that game and she was handling business. So long may it continue. I think over the span of, just say now, 3 World Cup cycles, you can see her gradually finding herself. Said it before, I say it again, she's gone from being a girl to a woman. Long may it continue. And you can definitely see there, for me, I don't know about you, but she's most certainly been one of our most improved players. Let no one tell you any different. Now, with regards to the midfield there, for me, she definitely came on and she added something different to the midfield. I think aside from Sade, memory serves me well, the only players that I can think of taking shots from outside the box was, I think Blackwood might have done it, and I think Plummer, right? So that's only 2 players that I can think of, but definitely Sade coming on, confidence, willing to put it on the carpet for her teammates, and also trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. That's what you want. You want players. What we don't want is to be watching football and people trying to put the ball in the back of the net, or people just saying, let me pass it to Bunny and watch her create magic. You don't really want to be pissing about with World Cup qualifiers, or even when you're at the World Cup. Sometimes just hit it from a distance, and she tried to do that on a number of occasions. Unfortunately, it didn't pay dividends. Now, what is puzzling to me is the midfield. I'm like, where do we go from here? Like, what are we trying to achieve? Like, what do we want from our midfield in terms of the 6, the 8s, and the 10s? Like, what do we want from the midfield? I can't quite figure that out. Maybe you guys can figure that one out for me, because I can't figure it out. Now, we know how the scoreline finished with regards to beating Nicaragua 3-2. Also, we had Shania Hills before the final kick. Her final kick, she managed to put the ball into the back of the net, which basically made it. I think at that point, before she went through, before she was substituted, let's go ahead and change that one on screen for you guys. You can kind of see this one. Well, you could still see the other scoreline, couldn't you? So my apologies. Probably should have touched on Shania before talking some more about some Sade rolling on the carpet. So again, for confusion, third goal scorer on the night's occasion was Shania Hill. So long may it continue. And as I said, last kick of the game, I think she was substituted for Kiki Van Zanten. Now, when it comes to the squeaky bum time, let's go ahead and see if we can find those on squeaky bum time from. Don't think I even spoke about. I had another snapshot, right? I had a snapshot of Jamaica's second goal. I didn't talk about Jamaica's second goal. I have to pause. I'm moving too fast. Let me talk about Jamaica's second goal. I jumped to the third, and I just realized I didn't talk to you guys about the second goal. I have to talk about the second goal. Full hats off to Atlanta here for this one, because you can kind of see her there standing over the free kick, puts this one inside the box. I think it was a little bit of a scruffy affair when the ball went inside the box, but what a way to redeem yourself. Obviously, we know she was at fault for giving away the penalty, steps up and just puts this one beautifully into the box. And that one there, I think Bunny, I can't remember if she used her left or her right foot to put that one in the back of the net, but who the hell cares if it's left or right? Point is, that ball went into the back of the net as it should, right? So my apologies there. I almost forgot about that delightful ball into the box by Atlanta. What a way to redeem yourself. Now, moving on to Nicaragua. They were moving like Scooby-Doo and his meddling kids. Like, they were moving mad, and can't say I was enjoying that towards the end. You can see here how they managed to get back into the game, managing to make it 3-2. And what can I say about Nicaragua? Clinical. I think their captain was clinical. She was involved again. I think this actually came from a corner kick, and the joke in all of that is they beat us at our own game with some aerial dues. Perfect ball, I think, into our box, and I think the goal was headed down and made its way past our goalkeeper. But nevertheless, take nothing away from them. I think that was excellent ball into the box and a perfect header. I think it was headed down by Nore Marquez. I can't pronounce her name properly, so I do apologize. It was a good goal by Nicaragua. I think at that moment in time, we're kind of looking, I'm looking, I'm thinking, what is going on here? Because if you guys remember, let me go ahead and switch screens again so that we're all on the same page. All right. So doing a lot of switching of screens. So let's go ahead, and I'm almost finished, by the way. You can kind of see how the halftime stats finish, right? So halftime, you could see here that Nicaragua had 0 corners compared to Jamaica's 1. The ball possession 62 compared to 62% for Jamaica compared to Nicaragua's 38. Shots 12 for Jamaica, Nicaragua 1. Shots on target, Nicaragua obviously with the 1, Jamaica with 3. Fouls committed, Jamaica 9 compared to Nicaragua 5 offside, 2 for Jamaica, Nicaragua with 1 less. So that's kind of how we looked at the end of the first 45. Now it really was squeaky bum time by the time we got to the second part, by the time we got to the final whistle, because as they say, stats don't lie when you're in football. You can see how this one reads very different compared to the last one, right? So let's backtrack. So you can see here, corners at halftime, 0. By the time we look at the second half, that was 0 for Nicaragua, by the way. By the time we got to the second half, we're looking at 6 corners apiece for Nicaragua and Jamaica, and improved on their ball possession. They had 40 compared to Jamaica's 60. Shots definitely improved on shots. They had 8 shots compared to Jamaica's 31, which is obviously much superior. Shots on target for them, 2 compared to Jamaica's 11. Fouls committed, there's 6 for Nicaragua, 17 for Jamaica, with the 1 yellow card which was presented to Atlanta. And again, fair play to Atlanta. I think it was some good in-game management from Atlanta herself. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. After you gave up a penalty, yes, influential in helping us to score the second goal, but when you're, again, as I'm assuming as a player, you probably want to be extra careful because you don't want to go 10 players down again because you already gave up a penalty. So good game management there for Atlanta, and that's how the stats read on the screen there in front of you in terms of ball possession. Again, 60 for Jamaica, 40 for Nicaragua, corners 6 apiece, offside 4 to Jamaica, 1 to Nicaragua, and I've talked about the fouls already. So that is how we look. Nicaragua, I think, again, going over what I've just said, clinical, captain involved, 11 versus 11. That is Bonishaw versus the Flores. Flores is the number 11 for Nicaragua, captain as well. They went gunshot for gunshot last night, and yeah, that was quite intriguing watching the two of them. Again, towards the latter stages of that match, that became very uncomfortable. I think, for being honest, we made it difficult for ourselves, especially as we're looking to close out on the match. We made it extremely difficult for ourselves. We could argue and say we should have killed off the game at a earlier stage, but we didn't, and unfortunately we allowed these guys to feed off the vibe of their 12th man, as they should. If I'm being honest, I don't know what you guys make of this, but I kind of feel like if we had maybe 10 additional minutes on the clock, then maybe they would have come up clutch and found the equalizer once, sorry, not once more, but they would have gone and found the equalizer, because that's kind of how it felt. So overall, in a nutshell, where both 45s are concerned, different match to Dominica, which was, I think, with the greatest of respect to Dominica, it was to be expected. The gaffer did say, paraphrasing, players are called based on merit, players need to be playing regularly, and so on. But I will say this, for this particular window, I think leeway was a given. It was to be expected. But I do think that going forward, you need to be making some tough calls, that you got to be making your tough calls. I think part of the reason why we were maybe heavily reliant on aerial balls is probably not just because that was the clear strength and advantage for us, but I really do question whether it's a case of, because we're still trying to figure each other out, and how many times are we going to sit here trying to figure each other out? Just put out the best starting 11. Can we play a full 90 with the ball at our feet? That's something that I'm still trying to ask myself when it comes to the team. The captain, though, she put in a shift despite it being one of her worst days at the office. Definitely put in a shift. Definitely reminded us that she is not coming with I in team. She's working with the me in team player. I think on numerous occasions she tried to bring her teammates into the game, for sure. But I think one can argue and say sometimes perhaps you need to be a little bit selfish. But definitely, when I don't like to compare cycles, but I do see people comparing cycles, and if we're going to be, sorry there, my phone, okay, my phone's telling me that I'm not on screen. Sorry about the little temporary pause. If we're going to be comparing cycles, I would say that there's definitely been an improvement. I think every cycle so far we've had improvements, right? And I think much of that is to do with the recruitment where the gaffer is concerned. I think he's done excellently well with recruiting players. Now, this is where I'm trying to, I'm a little bit puzzled because yes, we haven't had all of our players available at one time on a regular basis in order to, and obviously the knock-on effect is that we've not been able to build synergy and build a team from that. But at the end of the day, I think it is the gaffer that's going out there and recruiting players. Surely I'm no scout, but if you're looking for player identification, you must have a system in mind. You must have a system in mind. Only he can answer that. But so far, he's been here for what? Is it 2 years now or coming up to 2 years, something of that ilk? And he hasn't given me a game yet that's made me jump up out my chair. I still don't see the identity. Its game still feel uncomfortable at times despite getting the results. Yes, I know football is a results game. Of course, we're getting the results, but the football isn't easy on the eye at times. And yesterday, like I said, we made it very uncomfortable for ourselves. So again, excellent job where it comes to player recruitment, but I'm still needing this. When are we actually going to align the ability to, or I should say, when are we going to match the talent to the coaching? Because it's off balance at the moment. It's massively off balance. And I think if this was another coach that was unfamiliar to the program, I think heads would roll. I think heads would roll. People probably be a little bit more concerned that we're still not a settled team, that we're such an unsettled team. And I see someone in the comment section saying that, asking whether they think stuff is going on behind the scenes internally. I don't know. Only Lord knows. But nevertheless, things need to change. Things definitely need to change. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comment section before I love you and leave you. I've gone over my 1 hour mark. Peter Mystic, good day to yourself. I hope you're in great health. He's saying there's a rule to say that if a player miss an international call up, they must miss the next game for their club. But credit to JFF for not enforcing that one either gender because they could. Rule to say that if a player miss an international call up, they must miss the next game for their club. Oh, really? Okay, interesting. No offense to the Spanish-speaking Latino ref because I speak Spanish too, but CONCACAF needs more regional language diversity, also more Black women refs too. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, they do. I agree with you with that one. Jamaica Red Devil is saying, interestingly, the starting lineup and formation from the previous game, even minus a few players, was far better than last night's. This is inexcusable for a top of the table clash. Think he's just still just trying to figure things out. So Jamaica are 1-0 up in their U20 match at the moment. Tap in Bunny, scrappy affair. Very scrappy, not the best game we've seen from our captain, but it is what it is. The sheer number of corner kicks opportunities were given to Nicaragua were driving me mad. I think at one time they were 2 in a row. Yeah, it felt like that scrappy affair at the back. Definitely a scrappy affair at the back. Good game for the girls, regardless of the last 10 minutes, says Blair Video. Nicaragua clearly went with a strategy, twofold, in my opinion. At first, they weren't able to implement, but eventually made things messy and were able to, says DC. And Blair says we need Drew as the midfield maestro. Yeah, Drew. Also want to see when he's going to unleash Izzy. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but I'm looking forward to seeing when he's going to unleash her. And yeah, we need to just mix things up. As I said, I don't really know what we want from midfield. I don't think it's clear and obvious what we want from midfield, and I'm not sure why that is. Like, what do we want? Do we want to work with the Drew Spence that can give you an 8 and a 6 naturally? Izzy again, I think, can give us the 8 and a 6. I don't know. I think we're still trying to figure things out, which is massively, massively frustrating. I also saw some of the stuff that you guys were saying in the comments section. I went back last night and looked at my comment section. with regards to a couple of you getting your frustrations out the way pertaining to the gaffer's contract extension. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to say about that one. Like I said, I did take a quick little glance at what some of you guys were saying. I don't really know what to say about that one, if I'm being completely honest with you. What can I say? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know what to say to you guys. I'm actually looking at the should I bring that up on screen so we can look at that? I've got about maybe think I got maybe 5 more minutes with you guys, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. All right. So let's see. See if I can show you guys what I am currently looking at. And also tell me, who is your player of the match? I don't think you guys have given me a player of the match. I've kind of picked out 4 players, like I said, that I think stand out. But you guys can tell me something. If you think something otherwise, then go ahead and let me know. But giving you guys some players that I think definitely stood out last night's occasion. So you can kind of see some of the comments in the comment section from you guys last night. Sorry about my technical error. I think it's probably gotten better today. I've kind of figured out what went wrong. So I'm hoping that it won't happen again on any future live streams. All right, let's see if everything's good my end. See if everything's good my end. All right, so we're looking at, as I said, I tried to address a couple of your comments last night. You can see Panda Foreman more talking about we can't be crumbling now. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Panda Foreman more. Marcus saying DC saying, thank God it's over. That was a nervy affair. Marcus saying, game over. Miss Denise McFadden said, thank goodness. They had us on the ropes. Warrior says, Bosby out. You don't seem like you're happy at all. And DC saying that wasn't pretty. But at least we got the points. And then Mr. Denise McFadden also adding and saying that was too close for comfort. I think we're all singing from the same hymn sheet here. Warren Webster, Mr. Webster says, one Bunny Shaw, Jamaica's best footballer ever. Runners, big up to yourself, runners. I'm sorry if I didn't give you a shout out last night. He's saying Busby is causing this scare. Marcus Garvey also says the first poor performance from the team with Bunny. And Warrior says this coach doesn't know the team. I'm not sure if he doesn't know the team or if he just doesn't want to make certain calls. I'm not really sure if, which is which. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know which is which. So I did go over a couple of your comments there from last night. Again, I saw there is a comment. I think it was from Peter Mystic. I went over the comment section from last night. I think he was asking about the contract situation. I don't know about the contract situation, so I can't really chime in on that one. I think, like I said, DC, one of the commenters there, that doesn't approve of the contract extension. Jamaica Red Devil, win is a win, but who? Bring back Donaldson, aka Carrick. So Jamaica Red Devil, they're asking for the return of Lon Donaldson. I can't see that happening. I can't see it happening, but what the hell do I know? It might just happen, but I don't think it will happen. Let me see what you guys are saying there in the comment section. Okay, so Blair is going for Bunny and Blackwood as the player of the match. Mickey Don, big ups to you. I hope you're in great health. And Jamaica Red Devil says, I was impressed with Harris. Okay. Mickey Dunn says, are you watching the U20s? No, I am not. I might actually cool off my night by watching the U20s. I thought maybe I thought that Mr. Jackson would be going live, but cowards are going to hide. That's what cowards do best. When their team lose, I don't expect them to show their face. So obviously he's not showing his face. But King is currently live. So if you want to watch along, do a live watch along, King is currently live. He's doing Jamaica versus Puerto Rico in the Concacaf U20s watch along. So you can go ahead and make your way over to to his channel. So Blay Video says Izzy Groves need playing time. Tell that to the gaffer. I don't know why he's fraffing around. He has to be careful what he's doing. He has to be careful. His words might come back to bite him in his ass. So he has to be careful with what he's doing. Did say that players are called based on merit. Also said players need to be playing regularly. So might want to make sure. Again, this particular window, I can understand the leeway. Definitely understand the leeway. So I can't even be mad at it too tough. Mickey Dunn says very impressive performance from the boys. The boys are playing good at the moment. Maybe I think they're leading. One goes to the good there, guys. So you guys can potentially make your way over to King's channel. Let me know if you've got any comments, any questions for myself before I love you and leave you. You can probably stay here with another 2 minutes. So do let me know if you have any questions for myself before I love you and leave you. Before I forget my manners, thank you so much for blessing me with moments of your time. All right. So it's definitely greatly appreciated. And if you've not hit the like button, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and hit that like button. It does not cost you a penny. Please do go ahead and make sure you hit that like button for me. All right. 25 of you have already hit the like button. God bless you. Long may it continue. So Jamaica Red Devil is saying, I can see a partnership with Allison and Harris. I think there is more to come where the defense is concerned. I reckon that Kanye is actually forcing her way back into this team. She's playing well. I think she's gonna force that return back into the team. So I am looking forward to seeing how the defenders compete against each other. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about. I want to see who's gonna force who out of the team. Definitely excited to see that. Bonnie Blackwood Sade impressed me with how she came in calmly and went to work. Beautiful uh, um analysis there of Sade. Calmly. I like that word. She was calm. She was calm. She was very calm. And that's why that young lady deserves so much more love and admiration than what she's currently getting. I don't know why it is, but she's not getting the love and admiration that she deserves. And we need to change that. All right. DC says, thank you, Crystal. After last night, I wasn't sure we'd see you until the weekend. At least you're honest. Wow. That's a slap in the face. I deserve that. Yeah, I was very tired. But I said to myself, you know what? While my mind is fresh, let me just go ahead and give you a review. So that's why I forced myself to give you a review. You need to call in at some point. You need to call in. Rochelle needs to call in as well. Keisha needs to call in. Tia needs to call in. There's a couple of more names that I'm sorry, it's not intentional that I'm forgetting. Basically, the guys in the space say they want to hear from more women. Hence me saying you all need to call in. All right. As always, enough love to you, my friend. Enough love to you. And I'm about to close off because I don't think you guys have any more questions for myself. So again, I've given the link to King's channel, so you can go ahead and watch King's channel, his live watch along. I'm gonna tuck in and watch his live watch along as well. You're out and about on your journey to and from. I do hope that you arrive at your destination safe and sound. Please do make sure you arrive safe and sound, because walking through your doors is an underrated blessing. Thank you so much, by the way, for blessing me with a moment of your time. If I don't see you tomorrow, I perhaps will see you over the weekend. If I don't see you over the weekend, I hope you guys have a lovely weekend when it comes. I reckon I'm bang into my Wednesday now. Midweek is finally here. Time is flying. All right. So, guys, on your way out, make sure you hit that like button. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hopefully, you enjoyed my review. If you're watching this one back on replay, let me know your player of the match. All right. The girls managed to get it done, guys, in the end. Rugged as you like, beating Nicaragua 3-2. Long may the positive results continue. Until next time, take care. We built this out of love, out of pride, shining a light from the island to the diaspora to the world. A golden beacon of sports, music, and everything in between. The very best of Jamaica. We little, but we're Talawa.